That's right. It's Friday. We're bringing the boom. We're talking NBA. We, of course, have March Madness going on. We got UFC this weekend. I know JSU just got fresh off a UFC show. And, of course, we have the NBA where Bronny James had a monster game yesterday. So I'm here with JSU. I bet he watched every second and loved seeing Bronny James go off. But, JSU, how are you doing?
Honestly, I did because I said it the last time we talked about Bronny James. I honestly have swung feeling terrible for him. So I was actually happy that he had a little success in a game because just because I don't like his father, LeBron James, doesn't mean I have to dislike him. It's not his fault that his father forced him to be drafted in the second round. It's not his fault that his father forced him to be a Laker and forced him into all this controversy confronting Stephen A. Smith courtside and everything else he's done. So that's not his fault, honestly. It's, so I ended up feeling bad for him, and I was happy that he had a little success on the court. So good for him. It had to have happened at some point. I mean, he was so bad, Mangone. It had to come for, he couldn't be much worse. So he could only get a little better from what he's shown.
No, that's fair. And I always knew this time of year, maybe it was a little earlier, right? I thought it'd be more April, but I knew he'd get some run, right? And get some opportunity. And I did not watch it that closely last night, but
you knew that JJ was going to give him something, or LeBron, like the real coach. You knew his dad was going to throw him a bone at some point.
Of course, it's that time of year. You know what I mean? We got all these guys don't want to play basketball, except we do have the kids. They want to play basketball in the NCAA tournament. I will say this. If you watch the college basketball free show today, and you're looking for it tomorrow, I heard it's going to be premium. So it's a great reason to sign up at Run Pure Sports and use that code Steve15 for 15% off. I saw someone else in the chat looking for a winning community to come hang out in. You could use that code to get all the content, not just college basketball, not just NBA. We got UFC, we got the niche sports, NASCAR. So we got it all over here at Run Pure for you guys. We also have, I don't know, Jason, if you saw, it's a split slate. We got 7 games on the site that we talk about, DraftKings over here. And then the other slate that shall not be named has 10. So it's definitely a split up slate, but it's a Friday night. They wanted to make it a little easy on the people. That's what our sponsor, DraftKings, does for us. Do you like that the games are cut off a little bit today, JSU?
I do like that. I'm in favor of it, especially when you get 6+ games, that's plenty. There's no reason not to split up a slate. Also, too, for DraftKings, I don't know if they realize this, but their night slates seem very popular. It seems like they fill them. Mango, and I don't know if you play the night slates over there, but it's a real way to get 2 nice slates where you have 6 and 4 games or whatever, 7 and 3, whatever it ends up being. I'm not sure exactly, but I mean, I like that. I like doing these games, and then the night slate being kind of a separate slate of games. So I'm in favor of it, obviously. So yeah, #DK partner. Appreciate the split.
Yeah, so we got them split up today a little bit. Also, injury report kind of quiet today. At least that's what I think. I mean, I've said it the past couple. It's just we haven't had a ton of injuries. Now, we did have obviously the Nuggets stuff, and we did get some word on that Nuggets situation, right, with Jokic and everything. He's already out. We won't go through the injury report, but the point I'm getting at here with today's slate, and I know the Nuggets game isn't on the DK one, but it's a quieter injury report for March 21st. That's all I'm kind of getting at. So did you notice that, Jason, when you were kind of looking into the slate?
Yes, I did. But quiet injury report's good for a couple of our guys over at the DK Live Final. Our boy It'll Do Farm here watching the show, and he is competing tonight for the DK Live Final. I would assume that 9:30 game was cut off the Live Final slate. I assume it's just the games at 7 and 8:30 would be the games. I'm not 100% sure.
I bet they maybe kept it on. The only reason I think they kept it on is because it gives you a little bit more time to like kind of figure out like who's like what you're sweating at the end. You know what I mean? Like that final like 30 minutes,
No,
all eyes are on like the win.
I don't think they did, but maybe he can tell us in the chat if they kept it on, just because I know they like to keep the time like somewhat. They don't want to like wait too long to like crown the champion. So,
yeah, I'm curious if someone is in the chat at the final.
oh, he's in the chat. He can tell us. He's
Okay.
in the chat. He's watching. So let us know. Is the 9:30 Utah Jazz Boston Celtics game on the slate?
Yeah, that's a good game to cut off for what it's worth, right? They don't want to deal with the Celtics in Utah. Like, not really. Yeah, they get. He said they got rid of the last game, so that makes sense. I'm surprised they didn't just do that on the full main, though.
JSU definitely hit a growth spurt, looking taller today. Appreciate you, JP.
I'll say this, JP. He knows how to work that camera, man. He's like when the ladies are on IG and they know how to like find all the angles. JSU is our guy that knows how to find all the angles on the making him look like he's tall. There are some shows, if you did not know JSU and Big T and it was your first time tuning in, you would think there's a chance that JSU could be taller than Big T by some of the shows. I'm just saying.
Bro, by the way, Big T sent me this picture, and I think it was of two guys at the DK Live final yesterday. And he said, someone thought this was me and you. And it was like this massive guy and obviously like a real short guy, right? And I was like, and I looked at this picture and I'm like, dude, this is disrespectful to both me and you, because the dude he sent that was supposedly him looked like he was twice the size of Big T, like literally twice the size of him. He was massive, and I was like, this is an insult right here. And I couldn't tell how short the short guy was because the other dude looked really, really big next to him. So, but I was like, this is very much an insult.
Yeah. What's it called? I don't know why you need the Nuggets news, insider stuff. Nuggets aren't on this slate, right? They're not on the DK slate. So I don't know. Why would you need the Nuggets insider news? I'm curious about
that. Wait. So are all the games on the slate? Now I'm confused.
Now, yeah, I'm very confused.
He said the Celtics game is on the main slate or on the final slate. So
you think they got rid of the 5 o'clock game?
Oh, okay. So the live final slate, they're on it.
So what is the live final slate? Like how many games? Like what's
is it the 8 to 10 games or
that's
10
my thought. I think it starts at 8 because it's in Arizona.
Cut the first and the last one, man, going. That's what it was. Okay. Interesting.
That makes way more sense. So, but it makes sense to keep the 5 o'clock or 7 o'clock game. I say 5 o'clock, some on Mountain Time. Makes sense to keep the 7 o'clock game on there. That way, for the people like us, because people want to go out on a Friday night.
One thing I'll tell you, CW, JSU does not have, has never had, will never have a Tinder or any type of dating website account. If I can't, I mean, I'm married now, so it doesn't matter. But, if ever anything happened and I can't just find a woman like normally, then I probably just don't deserve another woman. So what are you going to do? But you'll never catch me on any of those sites. So no way.
P. Lally says I need a Red Bull. No, I mean, I got a low temperament today, but it's early, right? I've only had, I think I had that 1 cup of coffee pretty early. I'm a little tired from all the grinding of the college.
If you remember, Mangone came out kind of low yesterday and he got up really fast. So it can change in a snap of a finger for our guy, Travis Mangone. Be careful, chat, because, we don't want to have to ban people. Mangone was ban hammering people.
Yeah, we got Beanair back. He says you've had Grinder for a while. We know that's not true. We know Beanair's just trolling, but Beanair, I like to see that you got your account back. It looks like it's back, so that is good to see. All right, let's dive into the slate, JSU. We'll go to the first game up, which actually does have injury news, right? Cole Anthony and Trevlin Queen are questionable, and I'll tell you this, JSU, Cole Anthony matters. When he is out under this current Magic constructed team, Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner, when Cole Anthony's out, they just get all of the usage, right? It all funnels to them. Matchup against the Washington Wizards. I mean, it's going to be a great spot for those two guys. They're obviously going to be good spends. I've talked about liking spend up forwards. I mean, I do think they're both going to be good plays. They're both going to have 25% or more ownership right now, according to SaberSim here. Wendell Carter Jr. at 4.7. He's popping up as a value play. We got Tristan Vukcevic. He's another guy that if he starts again at the 4, like he did the other day with Sar, I mean, he's going to be a pretty good play. He is 4,200. I know AJ Johnson started at 4.5K the other day. Problem with those Wizards, I will say, is matchup against the Magic isn't great. So we're going to obviously lean more into this Orlando side rather than the Wizards side. But JSU, what's your thoughts on the first game?
Yeah. First of all, this Washington team is a nightmare. I mean, if you go back and watch their last game, if you played Washington, guys, I kind of feel bad because like the minutes are just a complete mess. They played everyone like 20-ish minutes outside of AJ Johnson, I think. And maybe like Sar got like 23, but like, I don't know, man, going, maybe I'm off on this. I feel like these guys are somewhat unplayable. Like maybe Vucevic and AJ Johnson would be like the two best plays just because they're cheap. But outside of that, I don't really want a part of these guys. I mean, you know, Colby Jones got some time. He's 3,900, 25 and 26 minutes. It's just too many guys, though, playing 20-ish minutes. I think Chris Middleton out for that game. He's back for this game. So there's another guy, Mangone, you can just add to the list of guys that are going to get 20 fucking minutes. And I don't love it. I'm not in on Washington. I think the only guy I'd think about is Vucevic if he starts, because I think at that price tag, 20-ish minutes, like if he gets between 20 and 23, 24 minutes, he can hit his price tag and get us 30 DraftKings points. So I think he's the only guy on that side I'm interested in. In the Orlando side, I feel like Orlando probably just pounds this Washington team. Wendell Carter Jr. seems really cheap and in a good matchup. A guy that I never really play, but I do think this is one spot where I can amend my rule of not playing Wendell Carter Jr. ever and play a little bit of him. Paolo's been awesome. His price tag has gone up, but he's been worth it. It's just going to depend on, you know, who else I decide to spend up for. But I do think Paolo's in play. So I think Paolo and Wendell Carter are the two guys I'm interested in from Orlando. Nobody really else. I think this game is somewhat cut and dry if you view Washington the way I view Washington. But I don't know. Do you see them that way?
I see it that way too. I think I talked with Glock about this, and we basically were saying like we're at that time of year where like some teams it's clear they're just going to be like, hey, we're loading up on these guys because they're punting, and there's other teams that they just spread the minutes out, right? And it's like you don't want to even touch that team, and Washington's kind of coming into that territory, at least at the moment. Of course, if they have injuries and they start losing players, yeah, that could change, but they're starting to spread those minutes out, and if they're going to be healthy, I'm not that excited about them. I like the Vukcevic call. I think he's the one guy I could talk myself into if he starts, but not some priority play for me. I do like Banchero and Wagner, and then Carter Jr. is a fine value. So it's pretty cut and dry where to go in this game. I'm going to want to get a little bit of exposure to it, but that's just really it. And again, I think if Cole Anthony ends up being ruled in, I do think that takes a little bit away from a Banchero at 9.9, where I'm not saying I wouldn't play him because I still think he has the ability to get there. Is Anthony out? That just happened, or did I miss it? Someone said Anthony's out. Is he out? JSU?
Let's see. I don't know. That news just come in.
I see questionable on BBM. So guys, I'm going off Basketball Monster. I'm just gonna say what it says. I don't see anything on Cole Anthony.
I don't see him officially out. So I think he's trending that way. I think he's trending. Yeah, he missed shoot around. That's why I'm saying I think he does sit.
Again, I'm not guessing and predicting it, right? I'm just explaining what's happened. This is the first game. It's not like the last game where, hey, if I guess right, I benefit from it. Like nothing's going to benefit. So But yeah, if Cole Anthony's out, I do think Banchero and Wagner get the clear boost. And yeah, Wendell Carter Jr. will not be a bad value to get to. We can move on from this game. Let's get to Charlotte and OKC and talk about that. OKC, they're a team that clearly they're trying, right? They have games where they took off a little bit with SGA, kind of rested him a bit. They are still missing Jalen Williams. That's a key piece they're still missing. They have gained back Hartenstein, Chet Holmgren, and SGA. So they're not fully healthy, but they got their guys back, right? At least most of the guys. Some of the prices have gone up. You got Dylan Jones in. You got Cason Wallace. He is questionable. Then a couple guys that are out, right? Dieng is out and Lou Dort. So there is some opportunity here. The problem with OKC that you're going to run into is we've been playing some of these cheap guys, right? We've been playing the Kenrich Williams, the Aaron Wiggins, the Isaiah Joes, but with them healthier and their price is going up, right? Isaiah Joe was 4.2 the other day. Now he's 4.6. Like, these guys are okay plays. They're playing Charlotte, but I'm not dying to get to them. And SGA is 11.6K. They're playing the Charlotte Hornets. What if SGA puts up his, 28 points, 5 rebounds, and like 8 assists, and then just calls it a day because they're up so much? That's a factor at 11.6 that you have to really think about, that maybe he doesn't get that fourth quarter run. We do like big men against the Charlotte Hornets, so that would open up the opportunity for Hartenstein and a Holmgren. And then, of course, if you do think there's a blowout, you got to be a little interested in Aaron Wiggins, right? Maybe he gets to play in the fourth quarter more. Maybe an Isaiah Joe gets more run, especially if a Cason Wallace misses. So that's definitely an important piece of information that could help with your decision-making. But, JSU, I don't want to go overboard on the OKC options. I think there's okay plays here, but this is not a slam spot like the other day. When it comes to the Charlotte Hornets, I've talked about Miles Bridges and liking him way more than LaMelo Ball. I've said I'm just basically fading LaMelo Ball the rest of the season unless he's like 1% owned. That's just kind of how I've done it. Miles Bridges at 9.2K, though, without LaMelo Ball, without Mark Williams, this is going to be a really good spot for Miles Bridges. If you looked at yesterday's slate, Miles Bridges had to kind of compete with those guys. He doesn't have to compete with them now. So the question is, what will his minutes be, right? Because you assume OKC blows him out. So does Miles Bridges get that fourth quarter run? I'll tell you this, JSU. If you tell me Miles Bridges is closing in the fourth quarter at 9.2K, I want him on my teams because I know the game is competitive, and I know he's the reason it's competitive, right? It's not Daquan Jeffries. It's not Seth Curry. It's not Josh Green, right? It's Miles Bridges carrying them. So that's something to really think about when kind of building out your teams. I'm not saying you need if-then statements with this game, but you can make the case if I play Miles Bridges, I maybe want SGA, right, or at least another OKC option on my team. So, yeah, it's his birthday as well today, if that matters to you guys. I don't know that much about Miles Bridges, but doesn't seem like a big birthday guy. I'll say that. He doesn't seem like he gets up for his birthday. Maybe I end up being wrong about that. But JSU, talk to me about this game.
Yeah, I get what you're saying about the OKC side. When SGA's in, kind of just really hurts everybody else to an extent, even though Jalen Williams is still out. And, obviously they still have Lou Dort out. But they got Chet, Hartenstein, Aaron Wiggins. They got enough guys plus SGA to where it's like, it's either SGA for me. I could see like a Chet if you really like. I could see you trying to be cute with like one of these bigs, like a Hartenstein, getting there. But for me, the interest has got to be more the Charlotte side, just depending on what's going on with them. Like Nurkic at 3.8 or 3.7, whatever he is on DraftKings, just seems like a mispriced man going. Even in a blowout where he only plays like 20-ish minutes, he could still get there at that price tag. And then is KJ Simpson back? Like, is he good for this team? Is he going to play?
Yeah.
I'm seeing him projected.
I saw a projection on him. So if he's projected, at 3.8, and of course I think starter is going to be important. Like if KJ Simpson's off the bench, you're likely not playing him, right? But if he's starting, you're definitely going to be a little intrigued by that for sure.
Yeah. If he's starting at 3.8, I'm in. KJ Simpson's a hooper. Just want to see that starting lineup. So, on the surface, the guys I don't like are like those like 5K guys, like Nick Smith Jr. at 5K. I probably won't play. Daquan Jeffries at 4,700. I probably won't play as well. So, yeah, I think it's the cheap guys and it's Miles Bridges, and it kind of seems like a game that I could stack, man. Going like, I think that's the way. Like, if you play this game, I would just jam this game, like SGA, Miles Bridges, a couple cheap guys from Charlotte. Get like a 4 or 5 man stack going and just load up on it, because I could see that having some legs at the end of the night. I could see it being a winner, obviously, if Charlotte can keep it close. By the way, we did tell everyone, if you watched the show yesterday, to jam Charlotte yesterday as an easy winner, plus 7.5. I think I even talked about liking them to win. We were definitely right on that. The Knicks stink. I'm going to keep betting against the Knicks. They are bad. That was an easy win, but this game, I think that's the way I'm playing it, man. Going, I think I'm going to either jam it or just play like 1 or 2 cheapies and move on.
Yeah, I'm sort of with you. Like I think overall I'm going to be like fairly under on this game. Like when I end up building out my teams and look at my percentages, I just think, I'm not saying I'm fading it, but I'm going to be like very low on this game. Pretty big stand, just not trying to get too overweight. So, and if you're like a hand builder, like, and I think it's easier when you're hand building, it's harder when you MME, but when you like hand build, if you are going to play, like let's say you're hell bent on playing Miles Bridges, like I probably want some OKC ran back just because you're hoping the game ends up staying close. You know what I mean? And for me, this game is not a priority game. I'll say this, if we get a starting lineup and like I see KJ Simpson is starting at 3-8, well, I don't mind playing KJ Simpson, and I'm okay playing him by himself, right? I don't need to load up on OKC with it or anything like that, because I think he's starting and then he's playing in the blowout, right? Kind of like we talked about with Damian Bow the other day. So it's something to think about when you're kind of building out your teams.
It feels like he's going to start from the projections being what they are, and if he starts, he's definitely a great play. So, and listen, Corey, okay, I am sitting on my seat, nothing under me, all right? It's just me. The chair might be raised. Cannot confirm or deny, but get off my ass.
Yeah, another thing too, Jason, I know you mentioned the Nurkic stuff. I'm kind of always like, I need to see Nurkic starting on Charlotte to believe it, right? And I wouldn't be shocked if it was Diabate out of nowhere. Like, that would not surprise me. So you make your decisions based on that. They're likely going to split the minutes down the middle. Maybe it's one guy gets 28, one gets 20, maybe it's split 24. We'll see what they decide to do.
That's the thing, though. I think if both guys get 20-something, Nurkic still can easily be optimal. He doesn't need that. He doesn't need like a ton. And that's where you beat up on OKC is the big man. That's where they've gotten killed a little bit. So I could see Nurk having a big game.
Yeah, I could see it. The other thing too, though, like keep in mind, and again, it depends how you think the game goes. I think it gets ugly and it's a blowout. I don't think Nurkic could.
Well, yeah, man, going. It's a 20.5 point spread.
No, I know. But I don't, JC, I don't think this is my point with projections. I do not think the projections are going to take that into account. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, right? But if you look at the current minutes by SaberSim right now, they have Nurkic for 30.5 minutes and Diabate for 26. And for one, I already think that's wrong. And then two,
I do too. I think Nurkic is more 26, 27 than he is 30.
Correct. And I could even consider like putting Nurkic to 22 and then putting Diabate to like 26 if I wanted to play the blowout angle, right? And these are ways that you can kind of like, play around with it. Listen, I believe Nurkic will start. Do I know if he'll play a lot of the fourth quarter? That's just something I'm thinking about. And I might just build my script for that. You know what I mean? So be there. Settle down. It's not me going out on a limb. It's understanding the projections that are presented right now.
Mango's like, I hate this game. I think they get killed. They're like, yeah, no shit. It's 20.5 point spread at home on the back end of a back-to-back, traveling from home to OKC.
P. Lally, that was not a ban, but that was a warning, B-Nair. That was a warning.
I will say he accidentally banned. He didn't mean to ban B-Nair. Yeah. He meant to put him in timeout, and he messed it up.
I think it was something weird with because I did it back to back, which I don't think.
Maybe because you did it twice, like in the same show, it just automatically banned him. That could be it.
That's what I think happened because I know I didn't click it, so that was
that's definitely more likely to have happened. So,
all right, well that's that game. Like I said, I am going under on it. I believe someone agreed with me. Jake was like, "I like it, Mango." He wants to. He likes doing the chalk basically. That's the chalk route today, but I'm okay with it. I shouldn't say it's the chalk route because people are going to play those chalk players. I just think I'm going to adjust my projections and then see where the chips fall. I'm probably going to be lower than the field. That's my assumption. All right.
I will just say too, I'm waiting for these lines to come out, like Nurkic's assist prop, rebounds, doubles plus 180. Maybe we get some interesting props here. So especially if KJ starts too. If I can get like a KJ, because KJ's a hooper. Like
if you look 30, if you look
he won't matter if he's not Nurkic. Like he could play into the fourth regardless of game.
Those are the guys I really want to like in these spots I want to load up on, right? So
all right. You just gotta make sure he's playing, obviously.
Correct. All right, next game up, New Orleans and Minnesota. We see a note on Elfrid Payton.
He got signed.
Signed at 10th day. Okay. I was like, why is Elf Payton back there? Zion Williamson, he is out. So that's the news here. I mean, we're gonna like the Pelicans today, right, JSU? I mean, naturally they're getting ownership. If you look, I see 4 guys below 20%. They are as follows: Jordan Hawkins, Kelly Olynyk, CJ McCollum, and Jose Alvarado. Of course, you have Bruce Brown, who, if he starts, I think he's a really good play. I don't know if he'll start. We don't know what the Pelicans are going to do. Misi, he's another guy, 4.4K. I think he has a good chance to start too. He's probably going to start with Kelly Olynyk. I assume it'll be started with CJ McCollum and then Jordan Hawkins and Jose Alvarado. That's my assumption on the lineup. Maybe Bruce Brown slides in for Hawkins or Alvarado, and they keep him in that off-the-bench role. But, again, this game starts at 8 o'clock Eastern, which will only have one game locked. We'll have plenty of roster spots open. We'll see what they do with the starting lineup. Minnesota, Ant Edwards, 22% owned, and honestly for good reason. This is a really good matchup. They are healthy again, right? They got Naz Reid, Gobert, Conley, Randall, DiVincenzo. I mean, this team is back for the most part, right? So overall, Ant Edwards is definitely someone that at 9-7 I like, but I do think there's better studs on the slate. Like, he's not my top priority stud of the slate. I think there are better ones I'd rather get to. If you ask me Ant Edwards or Paolo Banchero, JSU, I'm kind of leaning Banchero right now. If I had to pick one or the other, curious to get your take on Edwards versus Banchero and what you're doing with the rest of this game.
Yeah, I definitely like some of these New Orleans guys. The two that I like the most are Jose Alvarado and Jordan Hawkins at their price tags. I think those guys have big upside. And I think even if this game goes south, they can still get some minutes and run, especially Hawkins at 3,200. But then, you get into like Kelly Olynyk would probably be my favorite big just because I wish Carlo's price tag would get down because I do think he's going to get more minutes. But I wish he wasn't 4,500. Like Misi shouldn't be cheaper than Carlo, I feel like, in this spot. But so that brings me to Bruce Brown, who would be, fourth, I guess, if I was putting it in order. Alvarado, Hawkins, Kelly Olynyk, Bruce Brown are the 4 guys I'm most interested in from the New Orleans side. So I'm definitely more the cheap guys, but I like New Orleans. On the Minnesota side, I talked about this with JT, last slate when they were on, but these guys are fully healthy. It's just they got so many guys, and not just the starters too, but some guys off the bench. And, like last game, Obviously, Conley gets the hot, first half start, but then he ends with 25. It's like he had like 18 at halftime, and he ends with 25. It's like, yeah, that's what Conley can do. He can give you 25 at the most. If you want that for 3,600, that's fine. But they got Dante, they got Naz Reid. They've just got so many guys when they're fully healthy on a main slate. I'm probably not going to get to a lot of these guys. But I could see like a bench guy putting in work against this team. Like I could see like a Naz Reid having a big game tonight, but he's 5,700. Like I just wish he was cheaper. So I'm probably going to be lower on Minnesota, higher on New Orleans here. And some spots you're just not going to be on with. You asked me Paolo or Ant, I think was your question, right?
Yeah.
Mango? I think for DFS purposes, I'm probably going to go Paolo in that answer. I do think that they're probably pretty close, but I'd lean Paolo.
Okay, another question I'll ask you. Conley or Hawkins? For me, it's Hawkins by a mile. I just don't play Mike Conley right now. I assume you'll agree in this game.
Yes.
Okay, and then last question. How do you rank? Let's rank the Pelicans guys that are above 20% owned. Of course it can adjust based on starters, right? But like rank, and I know it's not easy, but Alvarado, Hawkins, maybe it's like rank all six. So we'll do all six.
Alvarado, Hawkins,
CJ Brown, Olynyk, and Messi. Give me your top three.
Alvarado, Hawkins, Kelly Olynyk, Bruce Brown, CJ, and then Messi.
Okay. Yeah, so it's like you're leaning more into the cheap options for sure, probably the cheap starters, which makes a lot of sense. And we'll see what happens with the starters. I think I have a good guess of the starting lineup. I don't think Bruce Brown starts, but you never know. I wouldn't be shocked if he started for Alvarado or Hawkins. Two of those three look like they'll start tonight.
It feels like one of those guys will end up coming off the bench, whether it's Alvarado, Hawkins, Bruce Brown. But I even think if they come off the bench, there's still a fine play here.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because they could easily close, right? If they close, they're playing really good basketball. They could get that second team usage, so it's not a big deal.
I agree.
All right, next game up. Let's talk about the Houston Rockets and the Miami Heat. Not an amazing DFS matchup, right? Probably a little bit of a slower pace game. We'll go through the injury news on this game. We got Amen Thompson probable, Jovic, he's still out, Andrew Wiggins probable, which Andrew Wiggins being probable is kind of a pretty new piece of information. It's been the Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero show with Jaime Jaquez starting. You would assume Jaime Jaquez, he slides out of that starting lineup and probably gets a worse projection here. Andrew Wiggins, he's back in there. He's 6.5K. Don't love that price tag on him. If you want to spend for Bam or Hero, you can, but not my best use of salary for me. Houston side of the ball, all these guys are projected to be below 10%, so not a lot of people want exposure. And, of course, because it's against the Miami Heat, it's not a great DFS spot typically. Jalen Green is priced up to 7.9. Şengün, 9.5. He's been pricey. I'm not on him. Van Vliet, he looks cheap at 6.8, but he hasn't been great since coming back from the injury. We know Dylan Brooks' upside is there at 5.1K. And then don't look now, Tari Eason. I don't know if you've been seeing what he's been doing, JSU, but the guy has absolutely been on fire. He's had 35 or more DK points in his last 4 games, but not an ideal spot to load up on a Tari Eason. I think this is a great game to kind of be pretty under on in general. I just think the pricing is kind of expensive with guys coming back from injuries, but what's your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, if you're looking at the Heat side, bringing Andrew Wiggins back, I don't really love these Heat plays. I think Bam, I guess, would be the play. But I probably don't want to spend up in their spot. And I think, Jaquez takes a big hit with Wiggins back for sure. And I'm probably out on him. And from the Houston side, I think there's 2 guys, if you want to play them, Tari Eason and Jalen Green, because they've just been awesome, down the stretch here recently. So, if you want to play someone from this game, I'd probably lean more Tari Eason, Jalen Green. But Mangone, it's not a game that I'm like, I need pieces from this game. Like I don't feel that need.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's definitely not one I feel the need to get to. If, I like to look at like, hey, how many 2-man stacks do I have? 3-mans? If I have any 2 or 3s of this, I'm definitely out on that. The only guy I might just play out of respect in my MME stuff is Tari Eason because, he's just been amazing. And I played him a little bit, not as much as I wish I would have, but I might play him a little bit out of respect just because he keeps going and going. Depends what I need. And, he might fall in there. I'm MMEing a little bit tonight, so I'll definitely be, not Xing him out of the pool, but we'll see. I don't know.
Those are always the plays from an MME standpoint you should keep in your pool because, like, they're not going to be owned, and it's not that hard to get overweight on someone who's not going to be owned. So, like, you don't have to play that much Tyrese. And so he's probably not like a main slate or a main team play, but
yeah,
from like an MME standpoint, he's definitely a play from an MME standpoint.
Well, I say it every show, and I know JT gets on me when I mention like an Indiana Pacer and like Miles Turner. I said it yesterday, 6.4K. He dropped 50 DK points. Like, it's just like he just has the ceiling. Like, you can't ignore him. Like, I'm not saying you need to play 50% of them or even 20, but if you're MMEing, you kind of want to get shares of them here and there, and then when the chips fall right for him, they fall right, and just breaks the slate. So, all right. Next game up, we got some chalk in this game, JSU. Spurs and 76ers. It is, as AP tweeted out, it's the live final, and it's Jeremy Sohan chalk night with the Spurs healthy. Who knows if he starts, right? I know he played 38 minutes the other day. We don't know what the Spurs are going to do. They always do stupid stuff. So I don't know what they're going to do with Jeremy Sohan. We got Keldon Johnson, Steven Castle, they're both projected over 20%. Devin Vassell is going to get some ownership. Chris Paul, who I haven't been playing Chris Paul these days. I don't see myself playing Chris Paul in this late. And prices are up on these guys, right? Steven Castle's now 6'7", Devin Vassell 6'8". So these guys are getting ownership, and they're starting to get pricier. And it's the San Antonio Spurs, who have a lot of guys they can play, right? I'm counting it right now for projections here that we got on SaberSim. And when you count them up, I got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 guys, which is definitely certainly enough. Certainly Sandro could go off. I don't know if you saw this the other day, JSU. You'll probably get a laugh at this. Sandro was like 4th in King of the Court the other day. Did you see
I
that?
saw it. I saw it.
Yeah.
They were about to pay nobody.
Yeah.
They were literally about to pay nobody. I don't know if they would have done like the second if like no one had him or something, but that would have been crazy. Like, could you even bet a Sandro prop? I don't even think so. Like,
if it was available, it had to be available. If it's not available,
I'm saying though, I doubt it was available.
Yeah, I don't know if it was. It probably wasn't with how many guys they had. I have been saying, like, I probably said it like a week or two ago. I was like, yeah, watch out for Sandro. He's going to be coming. Like, it's coming earlier than I thought, but it is going to be coming. I don't know if this is the spot to do it, but if you played it the other day, you might want to fire it again. Let's talk about the Sixers now real quick. Let me break that down. Grimes is 8'8", which sounds insane, but for everything else that he is doing, like, man, I still am going to pay the tag, I think, at 8'8", as crazy as that sounds. So, JP, I will address this. Mangone talking about playing CP3 in disgust while loving Tobias Harris nightly is definitely something. Here's the thing. He's a guard. Forward sucks. That's why I say it. It's different positions. So, yeah. And also, CP3's minutes are kind of limited right now. So,
well, that's the thing. CP3, the reason why he got there last game was because he played like 34 minutes. And prior to that, he'd been playing like 22, 23 minutes. So, obviously minutes are king in DFS. And that's the thing. Like, if you think CP3 plays minutes again, he's a great play at that price tag. If you think he plays 34 minutes, I just don't think he does.
I agree.
You know what I mean? It's like, if you think Sandro plays 20-something minutes again, he's probably a really good player. I don't think he does. Jeremy Sochan, is kind of a similar...
He played 38 last game.
Similar thing. Like, if you think this man plays 38 minutes, that was about as bad of a performance as you could get from Jeremy Sochan playing 38 minutes and scoring 23 DK points. And let me tell you right now, 11 of those DK points came in serious garbage time. I'm talking the last 6 minutes of the game because that dude had 12 fantasy points with like 6 minutes to go in that game. And he played almost the entire rest of that fourth quarter. He came out at like the very end, but like I'm pretty sure. But like he got 11 fantasy points in that stretch, man, going. So, like it was a really bad fantasy game to that point. And he played 38 minutes. Obviously, he's a better player than that. He was struggling from the field too in that game. Missed a bunch of all the threes he took. Didn't shoot well from the field in general. But we know that he can produce fantasy points. He can rack up rebounds, he can get blocks and steals and stuff at times. So he's a solid player from a fantasy standpoint. I don't love the ownership, though. I will say that. I do think, though, Mangone, and you can correct me if you think I'm wrong here, but with Philly lacking in so much size, it would make sense that they start Jeremy Shohan. Like, why wouldn't you do it again?
Yeah, I assume they start him, and honestly, I think the problem is his ownership is so crazy, so I want to see what other plays open up, but I think he's an okay play. I'm not going to be like 80% on him or anything, right? Like if anything, I'll probably just be even with the field or under, just because it's Jeremy Sochan and it's the San Antonio Spurs. Don't know what they're going to do, and of course, game could easily blow out one way or the other. Quentin Grimes is 8.8. I was talking about him a little bit. I do think Quentin Grimes at 8.8K is still in play. Lonnie Walker's back at 4.4. I don't know if that's going to muddy up the situation, but I'd be curious to get your take on what you're doing with the Lonnie Walker situation back and with the Spurs kind of crowded here, JSU.
Yeah, the Spurs to me don't seem like amazing plays on the surface, to be honest with you. I mean, Shohan, I get it, because if he plays and he's playing 38 minutes, then, that's a good play at that price tag. Keldon Johnson, they just don't give him minutes. I wish they gave him more minutes. He produces when he gets minutes. I think he's someone you can keep in the pool. From the Philly side, I don't know really what to do with Lonnie Walker. He's going to play. What the minutes look like, though, I'm not sure of. Does he start? Does he come off the bench and play like 20-ish minutes? Probably what happens coming off an injury. I don't think I'm going to go to Lonnie Walker unless I see him in that starting lineup, man. I just don't see it. I will say though, like Quentin Grimes is another talking point because like, what do they do with his minutes? I mean, that dude, he grinded out garbage time. They were down like 100. And that dude was in there firing shots and getting to 43 fantasy points.
He's going to keep firing shots, JSU. He's going to keep doing it.
Well, they got no one else, but I'm saying to you, like, they played him 32 minutes in a massive blowout. Like, is he going to do that again? Even if the game blows out, would he still get 32 minutes? Or will he play 40 in a close game? That's a thing. If he does, it's probably a good tournament play again. Yeah, I kind of like Quentin Grimes here. I kind of like I think Quentin Grimes and Sochan are like the two guys interested in. Chuma Okeke crushed last game. It's another guy, like, do you think he plays 37 minutes? Do you think that was a product of him being so good? I'm not sure. You know what I mean? I do know that we've seen him at least in spots crush. I don't know what you think about him, but I'm not.
I can't really do the Okeke thing, but I get it. Like, I know he's crushed, but like, I couldn't imagine playing 3 lineups and putting Chuma Okeke on my teams, right? Like,
that's kind of how I feel too.
Yeah, like
the Lonnie Walker thing is interesting because, like, if he does start, 4,400 does seem pretty cheap against his old team too.
I think it could hurt the Quentin Grimes usage a little bit too, just because the guy's a chucker, right? Like, So it's something. Once I get the information, I'll kind of make a decision.
So should I bet Grimes assist prop? Is that what you're saying?
It's not a bad idea. I mean, he's going to play a pile of minutes, man, the rest of the year. They're just going to keep doing it. So,
yeah,
I think Grimes, he's safe. Well, I shouldn't say safe, but he feels safe even at 8.8, as crazy as it sounds. Like, at least the minutes seem secure. So, but I don't like Jared Butler. I think he's the guy that really gets a huge stock, and he's 6.3K. Just not super excited about that. All right. Anything else on the Spurs, JSU? Do you want to touch on like Keldon Johnson, Vassell, or
I already talked about Keldon Johnson. I don't really like spend ups for the Spurs, to be honest with you. So I'm probably not going to play um, the Vassels and the Castles and those type of plays. They seem like solid. It's just for the price tag, not good enough to get there for me.
all right? We keep moving along, JSU. Detroit and Dallas. Injuries in this game. Caleb Martin's out. Klay Thompson, he is off the injury report with an illness, so not too worried about his time. And then Brandon Williams, he is probable. We did get the other day, Jaden Hardy, if you remember. Jaden Hardy, random minutes limit, 90 seconds before lock. And then, of course, he still got there. So, man, Dallas
He did only play 23 minutes, though. At least he didn't play like 40. I will say he was in foul trouble for some of the games, so who knows? He might have played more if he wasn't in foul trouble than 23, but that dude is a straight bucket, man. He's smooth. Just a really good scorer. And I guess when you play behind Luka and Kyrie, you probably pick up a few things, you know what I mean? But man, this kid's good. Like he can play at least on offense. His game's legit. Like he's like it's not like a flash type of player. Like he's a real good like offensive player and stuff like that. So if his minutes go up, man, going 4,400 does seem nice.
Yeah, actually, this is interesting. So someone asked, Daniel asked in the chat, is Anthony in or not? He is not starting at least. So like JC, we have the lineup, right? And we do not have word on Cole Anthony if he's in or out, but it's Corey Joseph, Caldwell Pope, Franz Wagner, Banchero, and Carter Jr. So
he's out, or I wouldn't play him.
That's my assumption is out, but like it is weird we didn't get like the ruled out already. So, but we did get the lineup. So that's the lineup for the Orlando Magic. Let's get to the Dallas Mavericks and discuss that though. Start with PJ Washington, 7.9K, Najee Marshall, 8K. They're both expensive for sure. The only guy really coming in with ownership is PJ Washington. They are a little more crowded with Klay Thompson there, 6.9K. I'm sure he'll get his 20-plus shots, so he's not a bad play. I would like to know what the starting lineup is, especially with Brandon Williams back, and what that will do to Jaden Hardy's role at 4.4K. Detroit side of the ball, listen, Detroit, they've been kind of steady for most of the season. We've known their situation. We know what they're going to do. It's a match against the Dallas Mavericks, though, and I'll tell you this. The Dallas Mavericks, they're basically like a G League team. So Cade Cunningham, he definitely could get there and have a good game at 10.4K. I like him in this spot. Jalen Duren could certainly have a good game at 6.7K. Tobias Harris, he's now down to 5.5. I'm not super excited about Tobias today, but, I won't take him out of my pool. He won't be on my 1 to 3 teams, right? I will say that for whoever was trashing.
Come on, man, going. Keep the bick going.
Nah, I'm not. I mean, he's only the last guy in. If I fell on him, great, but he's not anyone I'm prioritizing on my teams. I'll tell you this, Austin Thompson, he has not been great. 4.3K. The minutes just fluctuate too much since Dennis Schroeder has been there. That's been muddying up the situations a little bit. So for me, I'd rank the Detroit options, Cade 1, Duren 2, probably Beasley 3, Harris 4. And then the Dallas side, man, I don't want to play too much Dallas. I'll say this. It's probably PJ Washington's clearly the best option, followed by Klay Thompson for me. And then I need the starting lineup to kind of figure out the rest. But, Cole Anthony just got ruled out, so we just got that news. Thank you for that, Andrew. But what's your thoughts on this game, JSU?
Yeah, I will say Dallas, even though, like you said, they're kind of close to a G League squad, they've been battling. They've been battling this game's at home. I think they can battle here. I kind of like their offense. Their defense, not great, obviously, right now. But I think offensively, they can at least put up points to make games interesting and to keep it somewhat, back and forth. And that's the key here. If that happens, I think Cade Cunningham smashes tonight. Like you just watch last game where Benedict Mathurin, every time he drove to the basket, he got a layup or got fouled, like every single time. So if Cade I think Cade could feast in the paint in attacking if he wants to here. I think Jalen Duren could have a big game inside. So I do like those two guys. And then on the Dallas side, it's tough because not only is Clay back, but it looks like Brandon Williams is going to be back, plus Jaden Hardy. So now they went from a thin guard situation to a guard situation that has more bodies and more capable guys that could all play, 25-ish minutes. I agree with you, man, going to that. I'd like to see a starting lineup because, like, if Jaden starts or Brandon Williams starts, they might be interesting. But, like, at their price tags, I'd prefer Jaden Hardy just to start. And, at least he's 4,400. So, like, if they all don't play, like, massive minutes, it doesn't kill me, right? So I think the Dallas guy, the only one I'm really interested in right now is Jaden Hardy. And then the other guys, like the price tags, I'm probably out on. So I like Cade. I like Jalen Duran. I think both those guys could have big games tonight. I agree with you on Thompson. I want to play some Thompson. It's just the minutes are, 18, 21, 19, 29. Like, that's not a guy that's consistent enough for me. So it kind of stinks. But yeah, I'm in on some Cade here for sure.
All right, in on some Cade. He's a Dallas guy. That is a good call out in the chat. So
he's gonna smash if this game stays. If this game stays close, he's gonna smash.
Yeah, and they definitely have the ability to. So I do like Cade, though. He's going to be a good spend. Let's get to the last game on the DK slate. We got the Boston Celtics and the Utah Jazz. If you are doing the live final, I'll tell you this. I like the later games a lot more than I do these early games, especially this one. I mean, we'll look at Boston real quick. So Boston, they're missing Jaylen Brown. They've been missing Jaylen Brown. The rest of the guys that are questionable are Davison and Peterson. Tatum, we're expecting him to be in. But this is a crowded situation for Boston. Playing the Utah Jazz, of course, we know they're going to put up fantasy points, but do we want to pay these price tags for all these guys, right? Tatum, 11K. Porzingis, 8.2. Derek White, 7.7. Drew Holiday, 5.5. Pritchard, 6.1. Horford, 5.3. I mean, it's just all expensive price tags. And then the Utah Jazz, they're just kind of – I mean, they're not crowded, but they're more crowded than they've been probably over the past month. Like, sure, at times they got Lauri Markkanen in there, but this isn't like the 8-9-man Jazz nights where we load up, right? It's Keontae George, Walker Kessler, Colin Sexton, Collier, Filipowski, Jordan Clarkson, Sensabaugh, Cody Williams. I mean, this isn't Johnny Juzang starting, and then there's 9 guys. I mean, Johnny Juzang is like the 8th or 9th guy. So point I'm getting at is in a matchup against the Celtics, I think this Jazz team is a pretty easy fade spot, and these Celtics at their prices with Jason Tatum back, it just seems like a tough spot to really play a lot of these guys. So JSU, this might be the worst game on the slate, but what's your thoughts?
Yeah, this does not feel like a great game. The Utah Jazz, I really don't want to be a part of at all. So I'm probably not going to play any Utah guys here. The Boston side, I think there's 2 plays, man, going. I think you can play Kristaps Porzingis in this spot. I think he's got a solid matchup here. And Drew Holiday has been really good at 5,500. I think you can keep those guys in. The rest of the Celtics, though, I probably won't get to with the price bumps because of guys being out. More guys being out too than what they have out right now. They just have Jaylen Brown out. So all these other guys like Derek White, 7.7, that's really high. Jason Tatum, even 11K. Like, we're not used to even Tatum hitting that 11K price point. He's normally like 10, 9.8, 9.7. Hasn't really gotten up to 11K that much this year. Peyton Pritchard's up to 6K. Can't play him. So you just look at these guys, and most of them are priced up to a point where I struggle to click on them. So, yeah, I think it's Porzingis and Drew for me are the only 2 plays I got. And I don't need to play them, but I think they're interesting tournament plays.
Yeah, I get your points, right? Yeah, because they're playing the Utah Jazz matchup. Could those guys get there and have big games? Yes, of course. But I'll tell you this, I don't want to have like 2 Celtics on my teams. That just sounds bad, right? And I will say this DK slate is pretty tricky. I'll admit I'm playing more of the other slate, but the DK slate's definitely kind of tricky. There's a lot of spots we don't absolutely love. I would say the Pelicans is probably the clear cut.
Well, there's a lot of big totals too, right, man? Not big totals, big spreads too, right?
Yeah.
So
No, it's fair.
And the clear best game on the slate is Denver Portland, and that's not on the slate.
Yeah, and I'm
like so if you're playing that live final, or you're playing the late slate or the full slate or whatever, that Denver Portland game is definitely the game that you want to lean into. Like,
but the live final ownership has got to be so much different than this slate, like so
much different.
Which, if you were listening to some of our takes on stuff, yeah, it's going to be definitely way different. If you're playing the final, you are in the final, listen to the show. Good luck to you. Thank you for joining us and listening to the show. Hit the like if you guys can. We'd appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel and find out when we go live as well. All right, JSU, we went through all the games. We got no other injury news that came by. We give out plays of the day, and then, of course, we can get on out of here to update the content for all the members over here at Run Pure. But, all right, JSU, who do you got? Who is your play of the day?
Yeah, I alluded to it, but Cade Cunningham, I'm spending up for him. He's going to be in my lineups. That's my favorite spend on the slate for DK, and I feel good about it. I think he smashes here, puts up a big number at 10-4 and crushes. So there's not again. It's one of those slates where, again, we're missing a lot of studs because they're out, right? So it's like a lackluster stud slate. But Cade's going to be my stud. He's going to be the guy that I'm highest on at the top, and build from there. So yeah, I'm loading up on some Cade Cunningham.
Cade it is. I like the call. I'll give you a value. And it's one of the Pelicans values, but it's one of the lower owned ones. I'll go with Bruce Brown at 4-1. Like Bruce Brown, I just think they're going to need him a little bit more in this spot. Like, they're just going to need a little bit more ball handling. And I don't know. I think those bigs are going to struggle a bit where, hey, if they get down to, they might go a little more small ball, and that's where Bruce Brown can thrive. So let's go with Bruce Brown at 4.1K as the play.
I like that. And even if he doesn't start, I think he's still fine. Like, obviously if he starts, it's better. But even if he's off the bench, I think it's okay.
Yep, for sure. A couple things before we get on out of here. The NASCAR show. I saw someone asking, hey, when's the next free NASCAR show? We have a NASCAR show every week on Sunday, so be sure to check that out Sunday morning. That's a good show.
Yeah, but it was premium last week. So
it was premium last week. I didn't
know that.
Last
week. Yeah, the boys did a premium, and honestly, I don't know if this week is premium or free. So you'll have to ask Rubio Dimes. He's the NASCAR guy. Free premium. Sign up. Use the code RPS15. Get in there. I know the college basketball show. They're going to be doing the weekend, I think, premium only.
That's going to be premium. Yep.
So, if you like the college basketball show that they did today and yesterday, it's going to be premium. So sign up, use that code, get in the Discord, RPS15, get you 15% off. And big weekend too. We got, obviously MMA, NASCAR, the end of PGA, the Valspar, the showdown slates and stuff for that. I'm sure will be big. And then next week we bring it into MLB and start out the MLB season. I think that's Thursday it starts. So, yeah, a lot of stuff going on. Good time to join up.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on over here at Run Pure. We got to get the content moving and updated for the people, right? We got people at the final, Mr. Farm. He wants to get the content updated, the core. So we are going to get on out of here. Thanks a lot for joining us on the show. We'll catch you next time. For me, Mangone, and JSU. See you guys later.